Hi everyone, welcome to my mealtime presentation. My name is Heather and I'm going to take you through our Ficker scale and how to just take a look at your mealtime and to see where you can make improvements, see what you're doing really well, and just kind of get an idea and a sense of what a really elevated mealtime looks like. So I have done meal monitors for many, many years. I've done them with the CACFP and I've also done them with Fickers. So I have seen all kinds of things. I've gotten all kinds of questions, and there's a lot of gray areas. So I hope that this presentation clarifies a lot of those questions. So I'm going to just get this going. Let me pull up this PowerPoint, and we are going to get into it. Let me click out of this. And I feel like if I go, can I set up a slideshow? That's what I play from the start. Okay, here we go. So looking at the Family Child Care Environmental Rating Scale, the Fickers, a lot of us are very familiar with this. This is a great tool to kind of get a beat where we're at with pretty much anything in our daycare, but today we're going to focus on the mealtime specifically. So I'm going to go to this side. So when we're looking at this is what we're looking at when we are doing the rating. We are looking right up here to make sure right off the bat that those tables and high chairs are being sanitized before and after meals. And how is that sanitation done? Is it done the way that it's supposed to be done, the way that the state expects us to have it done? So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're also looking to make sure if the children and adults are washing their hands before and after meals. This is super important when it comes to, we have all kinds of things happening with COVID, we have flu, we have all kinds of bacteria and germs. So we want to make sure not only that this is being done, but if it's done appropriately. So we're going to talk about that too. And again, 20 seconds to wash hands with soap, the proper soap, and the proper, some people use washcloths or towels. We want to make sure you're using disposable paper towels. So just keep that in mind. Then we have this lovely checklist over here with a rating of 1 to 7. One is we need a lot of improvement, which that's like the 1 and 2. And then 3 to 4, we're okay. It's not great, but we're okay. And then 5 to 6, we're good. And 7, we're excellent. So I'm going to kind of break this down so that we have a very clear idea of where we need to, what we need to do to be able to get to that excellent, because that's really the goal here, right? We all want to be excellent. So when we're breaking down the inadequate score, we're looking to make sure that the mealtime is appropriate. So I have seen this very often with long wait times. So the meal's not prepped. For whatever reason, the children have now washed their hands. They're sitting at the table with nothing to do, and they're crying, they're upset, they're exhibiting behaviors. You see them hitting each other. It's just not a good situation. It sets the tone for a very stressful meal when this is supposed to be a relaxing, enjoyable time. So right off the bat, you want to make sure to avoid that you are prepping your meals ahead of time. I'm telling you, this is going to save you. I have seen people prep it the night before or the morning before the children even come. So all you have to do is literally either just heat up something quick in the microwave or oven where it's like you can set it and forget it. And then everything just goes on the plates and it's nice and easy. You also want to make sure that the food meets the nutritious guidelines that are set forth by CACFP. So this is super important. We have these guidelines if you're part of the CACFP food program that is very similar to My Plate. So it's broken up with, you have your dairy, your grains, your fruits, your vegetables, and your protein. So you know exactly how much you're supposed to be serving, and have an idea of what you're supposed to be serving. So you want to make sure that there's no choking hazards. This is a huge one. So, know your age group. What are they allowed to have? Are you giving whole grapes and they need to be cut in half? Chickens with bones, children can choke on the bones. Even things such as chips, they can, that can go down the wrong, can go down the wrong pipe, I guess they say. So just thinking about that, is the food too hot? Is it not cooked properly? So just looking at the whole thing and making sure that we're serving the right foods for the right age group. and making sure that they're nutritious. So fried foods aren't the best option. Are they whole grains? Whole grains are the better option. Just kind of looking at what it is that we're serving. Then we're going to move on to still the inadequate. Are the children washing their hands before and after? If they're not, and they're just sitting down at a dirty table, that is going to be a low score. So really take a look at that and make sure that the children are washing their hands before and after, that they're washing it for the 20 seconds, that they're sitting at a clean table that has been sanitized properly. And again, we're going to go over that. And then making sure that you're using appropriate feeding practices. So I have absolutely walked in on the propped bottle. So a child sitting in a chair with a bottle propped up underneath a towel or a blanket. That is not the proper feeding way. You want to make sure that the child is being held and that that bottle is being held at the right angle and held appropriately so the child's not choking or overfeeding. So we want to monitor and make sure that those children are overfeeding. We also want to make sure that when children are being told to use manners at the table, that's not, a harsh situation where they're being yelled at to use manners, that they're being taught the proper way and model and to have that being modeled, because this is supposed to be a relaxing time. It should not be stressful. So keeping that in mind on how you are teaching manners and how to eat and what you're reinforcing. And then if there's no accommodations being made for allergies, that is also going to put you in this inadequate score. So if a child has an allergy, we want to make sure that we're not serving that food. We also want to make sure that we are doing the right substitution. So if they're allergic to apples, that we're going to give them oranges instead or another fruit option. Milk is a big one. So, if a family doesn't want to have cow's milk because of religious reasons, that we are making that proper substitution with either a lactate or a soy or something else that's comparable and CACFP approved. And we also want to make sure that if there is a dietary restriction, that we have everything that to accommodate that. So if it's, they get hives or can go into an anaphylactic shock, that we have a medication and it's alert that everyone knows who is involved in this child's care that child is allergic to milk or dairy or whatever it is, fish. So now we're going to the second piece, which is the minimal score, the 3 to 4s. So again, this isn't bad. It's not, it's right in the middle. So we're looking at this and making sure that, okay, if you're in this score, in this bracket, that this food that's being served is well balanced, that the schedule is good, so that the infants are being fed when they're hungry, and that the toddlers and preschoolers. I mean, we try to get them all on the same schedule, but to make sure that we're not keeping them up if they want to sleep to eat. That we are feeding them according to their schedule and encouraging them to get on the schedule so they're all eventually eating together. So that's perfect world, right? Doesn't always happen, but we encourage that. We just don't want to, force children to eat when they're not hungry or to keep them up when it's not time. So just kind of keep that in mind. If that's happening, then you'd probably be in this middle score. And then looking at basic sanitation again, is it being done at least half the time? So you look at a minimal score if maybe you washed your hands before but not after, and that goes for the children as well. So that would be half the time. So that would be this middle bracket. And then looking at appropriate feeding practices. Are you sitting with the children? Is there adequate supervision? If there's lapses in supervision, that would be here. Or if the children are walking around eating, not sitting at the table. I've absolutely seen children at snack time just having a cracker, walking around, playing with their toys. That is a choking hazard. I've also seen milk being served at nap time while the children are laying on the cots. That's not appropriate. That should be served at the table because, again, that's not only a choking hazard, but that also can give children cavities. And then just making sure that you're sitting with the children so that they're not, um, you know, choking or doing things that are inappropriate, such as, taking their fork and putting it on someone else's plate, which absolutely happens, putting their fork in the community bowl, putting it in their mouth and putting it back in, or spilling milk and all over their food and ruining it. So just be aware that the best practice is to sit at the table with the children and supervise. And then looking at, again, those allergies and making sure that, restrictions are posted, or at least whoever is coming to take care of those children are aware, and that the substitutions are being made. So then getting to that good level, the good score, we're looking at the organization again of the mealtime. Is this mealtime transition smooth? Did the children, not only wash their hands before and after? Was the table sanitized properly? Were but was the food already prepared? And is the teacher sitting at the table with the children, engaging in that conversation, engaging in the modeling of the food, making sure that everything is done the way that it should be, and that this is a calm and enjoyable time for the children and the teacher. You're learning about manners. The children are learning, their fine motor skills, their socializing. They don't get to do this at home. A lot of times families, like I said, are rushing around and they're getting fast food. They're putting their children in front of the television because it's, more convenient. They can have a moment's peace to do what they need to do. And so this is the time that we get to have this engagement. So just kind of think about that. You don't want this to be rushed. This is a time where, I've definitely seen, I know children need to go to nap, and teachers want to have like a little break to get things prepared for the next half of the day. But it's also very important to look at, um, you know, taking the time to make sure that the children are practicing their skills of eating and serving themselves. I know it's COVID, so we're not doing the family style as much anymore, but even just serving, eating themselves. I know I've seen a lot of teachers take a spoon and the kids are taking too long and just putting it in their mouths for them. That is not going to help them be self-sufficient. So we want to just think about that, and just making sure that we are practicing the best sanitation. So making sure that if juice and milk is left out for over an hour, that's discarded. If food is not being consumed, that's discarded. That's not saved and reserved later. So just doing the right things to make sure that germs are not being spread, and you're not serving contaminated food to the children. A lot of family center or a lot of daycare centers do not let outside food into the program for that safety reason as well. We never know how the parents are storing it. They could be keeping it in their cars too long. We don't 100% always know what's in it. So just taking those precautions as well. And then also looking at, if a child makes a mess, like it's very often that a child will spill their milk, or, things get all over the place, saucy things. It's okay. Just encourage the children to help clean. Like, I think that's like the most important part, is to make sure that we're teaching them how to do the right thing and having that patience. So just keeping that in the back of your mind. And then again, the contaminated food, just want to make sure that um, we are keeping things refrigerated, that we're heating things up to the right temperature, and that we're serving the correct utensils for that child's age group to help them be successful. So, and also the leftover foods is very important, because once it's out and served, there's just more germs that are piling onto that. So we do not want to keep that food. We want to just toss it right away. And then providing parents with menus, I think, is very important. And CACFP definitely um, wants the providers to do this, because it's many families don't know how to cook healthy for their children. The children are just eating chicken tenders at home or pizza, and they're not. uh, Families are very surprised to know that their children are eating and trying vegetables and fruits. And so it's good to send that menu home and then kind of talk about that and say, oh, wow, your child did really well eating his broccoli today. Your child did really well and loved the strawberries today. And having that conversation and something that the parents can reference after, I think is very important. And you would be surprised how shocked parents are about how the children eat in school, because the children are all eating together and it's in a social event. They don't have that at home. It's very different. So just kind of keep that in mind too, how that works. And then, also we're talking about introducing new foods. So we're talking about like this excellent score when you give a child a taste of something. So we're offering, right? As long as we're offering every single component of the meal, we're doing a good job. It may take 15 times for a child to actually eat broccoli. Their taste buds are different at age 2. Things start tasting a little bit bitter, but we still want to encourage. So you give them like one piece of broccoli and just, encourage them to try it. If they don't, that's fine. You just keep trying. It usually takes about 15 times, I think, for maybe even more for picky eaters. But we're talking about where that food comes from. We're linking in books, songs, gardening, um, their help preparing the meals. So these kinds of things will take it to an excellent um, score if you're incorporating that high level education as well as the social capacity of the mealtime, mixed with the sanitation being perfect, and just having this be a part of like the education, an educational part of the day. So we're serving healthy foods on clean tables, giving them the utensils that meet their needs, making sure that the transition is smooth and that there's education happening. So this is how you get that excellent score. So I wanted to include some of this cleaning information because sanitizing a table and even like washing hands, like, why do we do that? We do that because of germs. So germs are these crazy little things right in the middle. They are microscopic living things such as bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. So these are things that cause germs and they're everywhere. So they're on surfaces, they're on, our tables, our diaper changing tables, our doorknobs, the handles on the toilet and on the faucets, like all those high touch areas are things that we need to be disinfecting and sanitizing. So when we're cleaning things, we're removing, and even the toys. So the toys, obviously, we have to do those daily as well. So we have the cleaning, which just removes the germs and impurities. So we're cleaning things using a soap and water solution. So that's why that solution is the first thing that we use on our table. So that just removes dirt and impurities. Disinfecting objects. So when we're disinfecting, we're using chemicals, which would be either our bleach and water solution, which is the 1-to-10 ratio that is dumped out and changed every 24 hours. So it's only good for one day, or it has to be approved cleaning solution. So there are different ones. I believe it's on the oh, uh, Office of Early Childhood website where you can find those. So just make sure that you're getting one that's going to kill, I believe it's 99.9% of the viruses. So the longer that you keep that solution on, the more germs that kills. So keep that in mind when we're sanitizing something. After we clean it with the soap and water, we are putting on this solution. We leave that solution on for 2 minutes. That 2 minutes, that is literally sanitizing all those germs. And if you keep it on longer, it's going to kill even more. So think about that when you're doing your sanitizing. We want to lower that number and decrease infections. You want to be able to make sure that we feel good about keeping our children healthy. And that's not just for the tables and the high chairs and all that. That is for everything that we're cleaning in our daycare. And we want to make sure that when we're doing the cleaning, that we're cleaning with disposable paper towels. Because now that we have germs on it, that gets tossed in the trash and we're done with it. And wash your hands afterwards. So that's also very important. If you use a washcloth and you're doing your sanitizing with a washcloth or a towel and reusing that, you're just transferring those germs and you're not doing anything. So just keep that in mind also. So some important reminders when it comes to our cleaning is to not have the children sitting at the table. I have definitely seen children sitting at the table, and that's when the provider will come over with the soap and water spray and start spraying it, and then the bleach water spray and start spraying that, and the children are just sitting there getting all of that in their face and breathing it all in. Just know that that is a big no, and the children cannot be at the table while you're cleaning. You can have a helper to come over and do the soap and water part. That's okay. It just needs to be supervised and no other children at the table. I think that's great for responsibility and the kids love it. But just make sure that, again, there's nobody at the table or anywhere near the spraying. And then again, disposable paper towel, not reusable towel cloths. So I'm just going to show you this video because it's nice to have a visual of what I'm talking about. I'm going to go over the proper way to sanitize a table. I'm actually in a classroom right now. I know there's lots to talk about when it comes to sanitation. It could be a little bit confusing, so I'm just going to show you how to do it. We have right here 2 bottles. One bottle, and they're labeled. So one bottle is our soap and water solution. You can see with the suds, and then the other is our bleach and water solution. These solutions are dumped out every day, and in the morning we start fresh. You can see that you have the right amount. You just need a little bit of soap and water to be able to get the suds to know that it's being effective. And then the bleach and water is a 1-to-10 ratio. That is also on the bottle, back of the bleach bottle, if you need to look at that. If it's too potent, if you can smell it, that means there's too much and it could be toxic. So you want to make sure that you're not smelling it and stay to the 1-to-10 ratio. A fun thing to do with the kids is to have them wipe with the soap and water because it isn't toxic and it gets them involved in the day. So I'm just going to show you. So this is the part you just spray the soap and water. This gets rid of any debris that's on the table. You know, we do arts and crafts and things like that, and then some germs. So this is great. The kids can help wipe this down. Other than that, you want the children away from the table. So just the 1 or 2 people that are helping, and that's it. Then we're going to take our bleach and water solution. This solution, you do not want any of the children helping with this. You do not want them near the table either. So this is the part that we do as teachers. You're just going to spray it. You're going to let it sit for 2 minutes. The thing is, the longer the solution stays on, the more germs it kills. So you want that to be on for the minimum 2 minutes. So we're just going to let it sit, make sure the kids are away from it, and let it do its job. Take a fresh piece of paper towel. I use paper towel. You do not want to use anything cloth or reusable because it's germs. You're wiping germs off. You want to just throw it right into the trash. So I'm going to now just wipe that off. It's been my 2 minutes. We'll say it's been 2 minutes. And then you're gonna, after you dry it, you're just gonna let the rest of it air dry. Even if it has that little bit of damp residue, just let it air dry and then you're good to go for your next activity. Okay, so I hope that clarifies what that's supposed to look like, because it's so much easier to actually do a video and show you as opposed to just give you the instructions. So I hope that helps. I'm gonna go over the proper way. All right. And so now I just want to talk about creating a climate for communication. So children need adults to eat with them. And the reason why is that we are role models. We're showing them the right way to do it. So if we're doing other things or not actually like showing them how to use our fork, how to serve ourselves, how to pour, what healthy eating looks like, you know, and that we enjoy it too. They want to do what we're doing. They want to be just like us. So let's show them that. And we want to make sure that we protect children from against any safety hazards, choking hazards, and then encourage that conversation at mealtime. So what did you do last night? What time did you go to bed? What do you do for your bedtime routine? You know, what's your favorite color? What color is your carrots? Like there's so many things, and you can link things to the lessons that you're doing or to your gardening, you know, the cooking activity that you just did or how you all prepared the meals. It's just very fun for them. And I think you're going to see an entire change once you start sitting and enjoying the mealtime with them. So just being present is super important and prepared. So, you know, maybe even preparing some things to talk about is, you know, going to make things a little bit easier. And then making meal times pleasant. They want to see your enthusiasm, show them that you're excited that they just used their manners or were able to pour for themselves or tried something new. Celebrate that, get the stickers out. Helping children learn these self-help skills. They may not be learning these at home. This may be it. So you're building such a great foundation here. And then, they're learning their fine motor skills. So they're able to learn how to spread things and cut things with their age appropriate utensils. So this is just a very important time. You see this little boy right here who's enjoying it. He has his vegetables, his rice, he has his tomato, a little salad over here, and he's enjoying all of it because they were doing some gardening ahead of time and they're all talking about it and having just a really amazing experience. My cat is knocking over my stuff. And then again, you can incorporate books in meal times. This is a great one, The Vegetables We Eat by Gail Gibbons. And then you can also bring in songs. It's not all about just social, it's there's socialization, education, but you can really link this into your lessons as well, just to take it to a higher level. And then again, the vegetable gardens are amazing, vegetable gardens and cooking activities. So I'm going to put this, I don't know if this is gonna let me do it, let me see. Okay, we're gonna watch this little video because I think this ties everything together. I think you'll really enjoy.
I like cucumber. Strawberries. Cheese is my favorite food. Strawberries stink. Oranges. Lima beans and green beans. Strawberries.
The USDA's Child and Adult Care Food Program, helping to ensure that children in childcare get the best possible nutrition. This important program contributes to the wellness, healthy growth, and development of young children.
It's important because it offers them a reimbursement to supplement their meals if they're doing meal service, and it enables them to purchase healthy and nutritious meals. When I first started Daycare 32 years ago, I just served regular children fare. And with the help of the CACFP, I have been using way more healthy foods, a lot of variety of things, foods from different countries. We're having quiche and blueberry muffins and some fruit salad, and have found that the children do really, really well with that. So they'll eat things that I never would have thought that they would eat, and I might not have served if I hadn't had the help and encouragement from the program.
He eats so much better while he's here than at home. He'll eat pizza every day at home, but here he eats all kinds of different things, which is great.
I needed the assistance with nutritional growth and the healthy, balanced meals, and appreciated the program and what it provided for me as a provider. Of course, the reimbursements help tremendously when it comes to shopping for the various meals.
We've had people that will call and say, what do you serve? Do you serve lunches, snacks, what? And then I'm able to share with them that we are a part of this wonderful food program and what we do. And it has been a very positive marketing tool. People love it.
It's awesome because I know that he's eating healthy. I know that he has good healthy foods, and I don't have to worry about packing it. And they give me lots of good ideas, healthy food to, feed them at home away from here also.
When I first sign someone up, they're unsure of what the requirements are. So I go and I train them, try and teach them what they're supposed to serve. And in the course of going out and monitoring them, I see a big difference in what they're serving. They're serving more fresh fruits and vegetables, whereas before they might have served something out of the can. They're actually doing more cooking and having the children participate in the cooking.
They don't know that the vegetables come from somewhere. They thought that they were coming out of cans or from the grocery store, but we started doing the lima beans.
Oh, her lima beans was a big thing for her. They grew some, and then they got to eat them, and they had a little chart, and it was a whole thing for her, and she really liked that. And we took some of the seeds home and planted them, and then she wanted to do a garden, so we have a little garden now at home.
The lima beans are so yummy.
Exposing children to more fresh fruits and vegetables helps develop lifelong healthy eating habits.
I also let them help prepare the food, which was another recommendation through the food program, which is amazing how much of an effect that has. They'll eat almost anything that they help fix.
There you go.
With the food preparation, that so many dynamics that we cover with that, with math and measuring, and being able to expose them to the different vegetables.
Any daycare provider who has not signed up for the food program really is missing the boat, because they really could get some financial help. They could feed their children in a healthier way, and they would learn that actually it ends up being easier than some of the other meals, and sometimes even cheaper.
Okay, so let me get back to this PowerPoint. So I hope that kind of gives you a good visual of what and why we do these healthy meal times. Like, look how appreciative the parents were and how shocked they were that their children were eating like this in school. And that has to do with all of you and your participation in making this just a higher level experience and building that foundation that they wouldn't usually have had. So I just want to thank you all for joining me today in this presentation. And if you have any questions, my information will be provided on the network website, and you can message me anytime, and I'll be happy to work with you. So have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.